occurred in the last 2 days, and it's time to move on. Time to start betting games. We're going to talk Astros, Red Sox, and we're going to talk whatever you guys want to talk about in the chat. So start dropping your games, dropping your questions. But the first thing I'm going to throw out to the panel before we get into it is, how does the trade deadline impact your handicapping? Day to day, do you do anything different? We just had a slew of roster moves over the past 72 hours. So I'll start with Bryan. Leonard, what are you doing to sort of combat that? Like, or do you do anything at all?
Well, you have to take into account, I look at it from a player standpoint, which teams try to improve, which teams are throwing in the towel. And if you're a player on those teams and you expected to be, like if you were one of those teams on the border and you were expecting to be a buyer and you ended up selling, those are teams that I look to fade for the most part coming out of the trade deadline. There's actually, a lot of people do a very good job on setting up the rosters, but even as well as they do, like on Fangraphs, Mr. Martinez does a great job on looking at that. But I was looking over a few teams, and there's a lot of blanks because they don't know who is going to be called up now. For example, Minnesota traded away basically every decent arm they had in the bullpen yesterday. Who will they be bringing up to take those spots? So as the day goes on, we'll get more information, but it's something to take into account.
Yeah, I like to look at the teams that are just fire sailing all their players away, like the Diamondbacks. Teams like that are, capping is game by game. It's not, unless you're doing futures, like we talked yesterday's show about Mariners to make the playoffs. Great bet now. Look at their lineup. They got the best hitting catcher in all of Major League Baseball, paired with him and Suarez together. It's probably the biggest home run duo in all of Major League Baseball right now, if you count home runs. So teams that are all in and teams that are all out, game by game, you can cap a little bit of motivation on their sides. That's pretty much all I look at.
I do nothing. I do nothing other than look at it as if I look at a team for what they have that day, and I'll treat it as like a team that maybe just had some injuries. So I have updated absolutely nothing. I'm cognizant of motivation, but I'm putting that in the same way I would any other day. So from a day-to-day base standpoint, from yesterday to today or the day before to today, I'm not changing any of my ratings until but I am looking at player availability. So what does that mean? It's like, okay, let's see who's in the lineup, right? Because all these trades just happened. Doesn't mean certain players are going to be in the lineup today. Doesn't mean the pitcher that they just got is ready to pitch. And the other thing I think that is worth pointing out, put this into the context of the real world for a second, right? Let's say this happened in the real world. Let's say Walmart traded an employee to Target or something, right? These are still human beings. You still essentially got asked, hey, go grab all your stuff and you're going to go work for the other company now. There's some, that just doesn't happen overnight. A lot of these guys have to walk in. I'm sure a lot of them know each other, but they don't know, you might be meeting new guys in a new clubhouse. Maybe you had a good relationship with the guys that you were playing with. So for me, it's entirely just, I don't think the team changes drastically overnight. I do think, you have to be cognizant of what's happening week to week. But again, okay, Twins traded a bunch of guys. Does that mean the guys that are going to step on the field tonight are not going to be ready to play? No. But could it mean 3 weeks, 4 weeks in that maybe their results are more match more a team that has the roster that they have now? Yes. So for me, not a huge change on a day-to-day basis, aside from player availability. Obviously, if I'm taking this guy and this guy out of the lineup, same way if they were to rest guys, I've got to tweak that a little bit. But I try not to make wholesale changes. And the reason I try not to do that is because the books do that, right? The books are going to do that. All the overreaction is going to be baked into the number of what happened the last 2 days. I think as a handicapper, you got to slow your roll a little bit and say, this team's probably not that different yesterday to today. but like in 2 weeks they could be very different. That's kind of how I look at it personally. I'm curious, do you either of you agree or disagree with that? Because I feel like it could go either way.
Well, if the lines maker's making an adjustment, it's got to be important. So I want to be aware of it. And I will say, we talked last week about the Yankees not making the playoffs. I think they did an incredible job yesterday, and now I'm not nearly as confident about that because they really shored up that bullpen. They did an excellent job. I thought the Mets, Padres, and the A's were the big winners, and those are teams that I'm looking forward to watching the second half.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
all game by game.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's
I was
all
gonna
game
say,
by game. Availability is quite important. But I look at the motivation factor a little more here. No one on the Diamondbacks is going out there going, yeah, let's win this one now anymore. They're all shot. So
that's a good point, TB. Like, I think, we had this conversation last week after the Naylor trade, and we didn't know yet, but if you watched that Diamondbacks team play against the Pirates, like, it was pretty apparent that
flat.
The mindset, the collective team mindset was not there, and it actually carried right in to the Tigers series. So yeah, that's a really good point. Probably just more of what you're going to get from watching the games, watching body language, so on and so forth. Like, it was very apparent with that Diamondbacks team over the weekend. All right, let's get into it. Feature game today. Let's go Astros Red Sox because, again, Bryan and I were joking here in the States. We don't really have national TV baseball anymore. Every once in a while, they'll throw it on Fox Sports 1. ESPN, I think, has a Sunday night game till the end of this season, and then they're done with it. So national TV is Apple TV now. It's like the one game the whole country gets. And tonight, if you fire up your Apple TV app, you're going to get Astros Red Sox. You're going to get Hunter Brown against Cooper Criswell. Bryan Leonard, Red Sox got a little criticism for, maybe not getting what people thought that they might get yesterday. Where are you at on these two teams, and how are you seeing this matchup?
I'm seeing on our line service, oddslogic.com, they haven't decided on the starter here in Boston, but you're saying it's Criswell?
It's either going to be, it'll be Criswell. Maybe there's like two guys at AAA that I think it could be, unless they go like a different route. I have a feeling they're calling someone up to make this start. That's what would make the most sense. So I had Criswell jotted down. If they haven't announced that yet, then they probably haven't announced it.
Yeah, I can't make a big judgment on it because of that. The lines, some places have got lines up, but I don't know if they were up from yesterday and they're just waiting. But they've got Brown basically a 135 favorite here on the road to Boston. Total of 8 here, which is low for Fenway Park, especially not knowing who the starter is for Boston. I'm assuming is from the player standpoint that Houston is probably more excited. Although I've never been a Correa fan, and they brought him in, made it like I watched everything on the Major League Baseball Network yesterday, and they made it look like that was the biggest deal. Well, I think he's washed. I don't think he's very good anymore. He's hurt all the time, so it may be nice that he's going back to the team, but I don't know how much of a help that's going to be. But I do like Brown. Brown's an excellent starter, and he's going up against a Boston team here that has hit pretty well as of late. In fact, I saw a stat since the trade from San Francisco for Devers. The Boston team's a much better hitting team than San Francisco is. We talked yesterday about somebody said that they looked to trade Devers. That didn't come around, and we kind of expected that. But the Boston fans are a little bit upset. They did get May coming in from the Dodgers, but I don't think this is a very good fit for him. If he struggled in LA, which is a little bit better of a pitcher's park, he's going to struggle here in Boston. So I like the future of Houston a little bit better now than I did last week. And this is what it is in baseball. I mean, everything changes week to week. This was a team that you've been fading, and you've had a lot of success doing that. Right now, I think they've got a little bit of a jolt here, but without knowing who's going to start for Boston here, I'm just going to sit back and see if you guys have more information than I do.
Guys, go to our pages at wagertalk.com and see what we have available. We put up free plays almost every day. I have a couple of 4% plays out today in Major League Baseball. So go check out what I and these other two guys have up today. Take the 5 seconds and catch our free plays as well. I think the Red Sox, talk about washed. I think the Red Sox did the Dodgers a favor by taking May. Man, that guy's washed. He's terrible. But anyway, I think the Dodgers are pretty happy to get rid of him. Regarding this game, I still have Hunter Brown, although he did have a rough patch. I still have him ranked number 15 out of 200 plus starting pitchers. Some of them on IL, of course, but still on a huge lump of starting pitchers. He's still number 15. So obviously the Astros have an advantage here in starting pitcher, but in a very tiny sample size, some of these some of these Red Sox have gotten to him, including, let's see, 4 for 2. Looking at the wrong one. Hang on a second. Red Sox, right? Sorry, I was looking at the wrong team. Boston Red Sox. Let's see how they do against Hunter Brown. So, yeah, I was looking at the right team. It is a small sample size, but let's see. Some guys I've never heard of. Let's see. Toro, Connor Wong. Yeah. People who probably won't even be playing today. So that's not really a factor. I have both bullpens mediocre, doing okay. Both lineups fairly even here. Mediocre. Don't really know what to make of Boston's starting pitcher situation. So I'm probably going to leave this game alone. If anything, take a Hunter Brown innings prop or some kind of strikeout prop, but I don't think I'll be playing a side here.
So there's actually quite a bit the Red Sox could do with the starting pitcher tonight. And I don't think anything they do with the starter would make me want to fade Hunter Brown and the Astros in this spot. And that's coming from someone that doesn't particularly care for this Astros team long term. But like, you're talking about Hunter Brown. We've talked about him all year. I still think he's an elite starting pitching option, Major League Baseball. You've got Jeremy Pena likely back in the lineup for the Astros tonight. I don't know if you'll see Correa. I suppose they could do it. So here's the deal with the Red Sox. Dustin May is in line to pitch today. Today would be his spot. Now, I don't think that they may ask him. They may be like, hey, do you want to pitch tonight? Like, are you ready to do that? I don't think they will, but it's certainly, if pitchers, as TB has pointed out many times, are creatures of habit, right? He may last pitched on Sunday. So he might be like, yeah, I want to throw tonight. It's my day to throw. And then he would make the start. If he doesn't throw, what they're going to have to do is bring someone up from Worcester. So it could be Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison is supposed to start at Worcester tonight, but that was the guy that was the piece from the Devers trade. I don't know if the Red Sox are truly ready to put him out there yet. I know he's shown some progress at Worcester and doing what they want to do, but I don't know if they're ready to start him yet. So that's why I sort of had Criswell jotted down, because Criswell, I think he last threw on Sunday, and he's kind of the guy that's like, he's actually having a great season at AAA, but he's also the guy, he's been up. I don't think it's like a huge deal for the Red Sox to maybe ask him to come up, make a start, and go back down. Whereas like with Harrison, I feel like you call him up, you kind of have to keep him up just because that's who you got for Devers. Like, you can't call him up and then send him back down. So that's what I'd be looking at for today for the Red Sox. One of those three guys. Does it matter though? Wouldn't you take Hunter Brown and Jeremy Pena back in the lineup for the Astros against any of them? That's kind of where I'm at. So I lean toward the Astros here. Go ahead, Bryan. Were you going to say something?
No, but I just wanted to. Correa said he's going to play third base. Is anybody familiar with his playing third base before? I mean, is this a situation where he's never played it? If it is, I don't know if they can throw him out there to do that this soon.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if it's a good question. This is why this goes back to my original point where it's like, got to see a lineup, have to see what they're doing day to day, right? Like, just because this trade happened, the Astros might be like, hey, take a day, get back. Maybe he'll be available to pinch hit or something, and then we'll start you tomorrow. The Red Sox, they could use May, but they might be like, hey, take a day, meet the team, and then you'll start tomorrow. So that's what I would keep an eye on. I'll tell you what, though, if if it is Harrison that gets called up, I think the Astros probably take some money in that regard. So if you kind of like the Astros, I maybe just would bet at action now while you can still get like $1.40 on a Brown, Brian. What does that look like right now?
It's about 135 across the board right now.
Yeah, like if that ends up being Criswell or Harrison, which I my gut says it's either of those two, I think the Astros go off like minus 150, minus 155, because Brown's going to get that type of respect. So that is that's just how I see that one. I don't know if I'll play it, but Astros is enticing, especially Jeremy Payne is a big boost to that lineup right now, and he was knocking the cover off the ball in his rehab appearances the last few days. So it's an interesting game. All right, let's continue on. I'm going to grab one at Colin Gregory likes Astros. I think that he's saying Astros money line. All right, good luck if you play that. Let's grab. Here we go. Let's go to Mr. Nance in the chat. Mets Giants, please. Mets going for it. Finally got a center fielder. The Mets were active. They made some moves. Think they're staking claim to being a really serious contender in the National League. At one point earlier this year, Brian Leonard, I had the Mets rated number 1 of all of the National League teams, and that was for a good point of the first half, really until they went on that swoon where they lost like 10 of 11 in the middle of June. I don't know. I think I might have them back at the top. I like what they did at the deadline. I think this team is really, really good, and I'm going to have to come on and admit when I'm wrong. I think I was a little bit wrong about the Giants. They really haven't capitalized on that trade. So Mets, Giants, where are you at on these two teams? How are you seeing this game?
Mets, Giants. The Giants are sending out Robbie Ray, who a lot of people thought would be traded, and he wasn't. They just didn't get the offers, I guess. Against Peterson. Peterson right now about a 139 favorite, total of 7 to the over heavy or 7.5 to the under heavy. A couple of lefties going in this one. The Mets I thought did a really nice job over the trade deadline, so I'm excited to see that. It makes you wonder right now who is really the major contenders coming out of the National League. I mean, the Dodgers really didn't do much, didn't have to. They've got so many guys that are hurt, but the Mets are all in, and that bullpen is awesome now. That and the pitching they've had this year and the way they've been able to work that. This is a team that's going to be hard to score runs against. You're going to be able to hit, and San Francisco is a team that just has not been hitting lately. So obviously, if you're looking at this game, that number may be a little bit cheaper on the Mets, about the 138, 140 range with a total of 7.5 to the under. I do like Robbie Ray. He's a nice strikeout guy, and he's come back from his injuries, and he's really pitched well this year. 2.93 ERA, 3.32 expected, so he's been really solid. 1.14 WHIP. But when you take a look at his StatCast page, there is a lot of blue. Average exit velocity, 11th percentile, hard hit rate, 19th, walk rate, 24th. That's always been a problem a little bit with the walks for Robbie Ray. The Mets with Peterson, the guys, the last 2 years, he's really come into his own. This year, 2.83 ERA, 2.90 the last 2 years. We talk about wins, losses don't really mean anything, but he's 17-7. He's doing his job for the Mets. 4.24 expected ERA, though, which is, 1.5 runs basically this far into the season. Last year, it was the same way. He was a 2.90 ERA, 4.56. So maybe just one of those guys that is able to beat his expected numbers. Ground ball percentage, 95th percentile, extension, 95th percentile. He's 6'6", but he has a tendency to get hit. His hard hit rate's in the 12th percentile, average exit velocity, 13th. His fastball velocity is only in the 14th. His four-seamer is at 92.3, which is about 1 mile an hour low for a lefty. Does throw 5 pitches, and they're all 12% or more. So he's a guy that mixes it up really well. I prefer the Mets here. I think the line is actually a little bit cheap here, going against San Francisco the way the Giants are playing right now. So that's a game I'm interested in with Peterson against Ray today. I think it's a little bit cheap for that home favorite. Yeah,
the way I break this one down is I first look at the starting pitching and bullpen, and like Bryan said, Peterson's having a great season. On a curve of 30, I have him ranked number 9. So he's in the top 1/3 of all starting pitchers, and Robbie Ray's not much behind him. Robbie Ray started out really hot. I think at one point he was like 9 wins and no loss, something like that. He started out really hot, cooled off a little bit, but I got him ranked 13 on a curve of 30. Not bad. Both bullpens top 10, but neither team is producing runs right now. I have them both ranked 22. So that's current form, though. Obviously, the Mets have a lot more talent than the Giants do. The Mets have a lot more run-producing potential. One interesting thing, though, is if you look at how each pitcher faces the batters they're facing today, they both have been hit pretty hard, actually, especially Peterson. So if you look at how Peterson's performed against these batters, he had 339 average against and an 891 OPS. It's not terrible. It's not horrible. It's not really good. I was looking at his outs over maybe because the Giants are just flaccid at the plate. But given those numbers, that's going to shy me off of that play. So then I thought, well, since both pitchers get hit pretty hard, maybe an over. But with 2 really good bullpens and one lineup not producing, I don't think I like the over either. So the last thing I looked at was who's hitting David Peterson this well. Well, it happens to be Rafael Devers. He's 5 for 13. And then I looked at who's hitting Robbie Ray really well. Tends to be Starling Marte, who's 9 for 25 in his career. So maybe I would look at a prop for one of those 2 guys, but I wouldn't argue if you wanted to take the Mets.
So someone in the chat asked about Soto. He'll play tonight. I think he got a day off just to give him an extra day off. That's he had a sore foot. I believe they just gave him Wednesday off because they knew they had the off day Thursday. So I fully expect him to play tonight. Steve Duke says Peterson is really good. Peterson is a fascinating sort of case to me. So every once in a while up here in Syracuse, New York, your boy gets a little bit of access here. You know, it's rare, but every once in a while, I get in to a Syracuse Mets game. We know some people and get down to the field and stuff like that. So 2 years ago, or last year, Peterson was up here for an extended period of time doing some rehab. And so I made my way into a post-game thing where they were talking to him, and he made a comment to the extent of, like, he basically, so this is a guy that had hip surgery 2 years ago in the offseason. So he started his season last year here in Syracuse, and he pretty much came out and said, he's like, I'm pitching pain-free for the first time in my major league career. He said it's been 3 years. So if you look at his career, he started in 2020. He was pretty good in that COVID 2020 year shortened season. His numbers were pretty good. Precipitous drop off 2021, 2022, 2023. And he basically said, I have been in severe pain for most of that stretch. Last year, extended rehab here in Syracuse. What has he done since at the big league level? His ERA is under 3. And he's got a whip in like the 1.2s, right? If he had done, now this is a former first round pick, 2017 draft, he's a first rounder. If he had been doing that his whole career, we'd be pricing David Peterson like he's Zach Wheeler, right? Like he'd be in the mix. Like we talk about him, like we talk about Hunter Brown and these like guys that have really been like aces because former first round pick, if he's had under 3 ERA and a 1.2 whip this whole time, he'd be treated like a legitimate ace. He's not treated like a legitimate ace because he was sort of looked at like a bust for a few years when he was getting knocked around. But how much of that goes back to him just being in, I mean, dude, hip surgery for a guy his age is uncommon. So he must have been in some real pain. Like you just don't see guys in their 20s having hip surgery. So the fact that since the injury, that he's like, if you just look at his numbers the last 2 years, like in my opinion, the market is nowhere near where they should be on this guy. And then you start to look at some of the underlying metrics for this season, and it's pretty good. It's he's got, I guess some of the expected ERA stuff is it doesn't really concern me because what are they basing that off of really? Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. He gets ground balls. Like all this stuff is pretty good. Maybe it's because he doesn't get a ton of swing and miss, but I don't know. I like Peterson. So that was my ability to add some context there as to like why I'm higher on him than I think most are. And so, yeah, I got to agree with you, Brian. Mets are a little short here. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's 5-0 with a 1.91 ERA at home also. So he's been very good. And Robbie Ray, like most people, we kind of talked about this, I think yesterday or the day before, about the home road dichotomy for the pitchers. And Robbie Ray's been better at home than he has been on the road. But both these teams, San Francisco's a good pitching ballpark, and obviously the Mets play in a good pitching ballpark also. So, yeah, I think the Mets, I'm just looking over some of the line moves in some of the games right now. And like Seattle's taking a lot of money. And a lot of these teams that really played well and have been playing well and really, really look good with what they've done over the trade deadline have taken a lot of money. So it would not surprise me to see the Mets take more money as the day goes on here.
All right, let's go to this game, since it's always a huge topic of interest on this show. G. Hurt says, I hate to say it, but Phillies minus 150 today. I think it's a great price against my Tigers. A bunch of lefties on the road, and the Tigers hitting against a lefty. Green, not good. No Carpenter in the lineup, most likely against a lefty. I talked to some Tigers fans. They weren't really thrilled with how the deadline played out. So do you like now? It doesn't. Again, I'm not going to like bail on the Tigers for that. I think that's just it's very much like kind of what they've been the last couple of years. But like, do you think the team was expecting them to make a splash? And it felt like they kind of just went out, got some cheap guys. You know, I don't know that they like really improved their team. It feels like they got more guys that are just like fit into this sort of Tigers team where it's like, maybe they could be at AAA. Maybe they could be a platoon guy. Maybe they can fill a role, Paddock to eat up some innings. Where are you at on that, Brian? Because I feel like if I'm a player on that Tigers team, a little bit disappointed that they didn't improve the team more.
Yeah, they brought in 7 pitchers, and I think the Detroit strength is their pitching. So that was a little bit strange. They did bring in some guys that have some time left where they can possibly use them in the future. I think they treated it sort of like how Tampa Bay, and I mentioned that yesterday, how Tampa Bay treats it. So maybe they're just looking for a little bit of depth. If you are looking for depth, relief pitching is the way to do it because starters, you're only going to use 3 starters basically when the playoffs start. You rarely go deeper than that. So, they didn't make any big changes, but I think they like their team as what it is right now. And they're not going to spend a lot of money. We talked about that earlier. People talking about Skeens going to Detroit as a free agent. That's not going to happen. They really have to bring out a lot of money doing that kind of thing. But Flaherty's up against Suarez here. Suarez, the lefty, about a 148 favorite. 7.5 to the over, 8.5 to the under, that kind of thing. Flaherty's splits are a concern on the season. In home games, 3.38 ERA. Road games, 6.28 ERA, 1.51 WHIP compared to 1.13 at home. He's obviously a guy on the road that you look to go against. And his numbers, when you look at everything overall, 4.51 ERA, 3.91 expected, 1.28 WHIP. Great strikeout percentage, 89th percentile, whiff rate 77th. He's good in that, but he can get hit hard. Barrel rate 14th percentile, ground ball rate only in the 15th percentile, hard hit rate 22nd percentile. So he's a guy that I think will be able to get hit here in Philadelphia, and this is a pretty good hitter's ballpark. Ranger Suarez has been terrific this year, 2.59 ERA, 3.16 expected, 1.17 WHIP, a lot of red, especially hard hit rate, 99th percentile in hard hit rate, 99th percentile in average exit velocity. Very good pitcher. Doesn't have a lot of extension, and his fastball velocity is only in the 8th percentile, but he only throws his 4-seamer 14% of the time. I love that. When you don't have a good fastball, I've said it all along, any major league hitter can hit a fastball. So when you've got 6 pitches like he does, especially, he uses a slider 1% of the time, but basically 5 pitches, his sinker, his change, and his cutter and his curve, he throws more than his four-seamer. He is a guy, when I'm looking to bet, he's the guy that I like because he's not a guy who, even though he did have a win 12 games last year with a 3.46 ERA, when you take a look at this Philadelphia starting rotation, he's like an afterthought. And he's got good betting value on him. I like the Phillies as a whole. And, if I had to play this, I'd play Suarez at home. Like I said, you're getting him for basically 150 or 150 range, which is really 60% of the time they're saying that Philadelphia is going to win this game, especially the way that Detroit has played over the last month or so. I prefer Philly here. I'd lay the chalk.
There ain't no way I'm playing Philly in this game. There's a couple of stats here that really worry me if I were to take Philadelphia here. And I'm not for sure. Flaherty has absolutely dominated these batters. Schwarber, Harper, I expect nothing from them today against Flaherty. If you look at Suarez's ERA at home, it's 4+. And against these batters in his career, he has a 375 average against and a 912 OPS against. He's been tagged. There is one play I like here. It's the Rangers Suarez hits allowed over 4.5. I think for sure the Tigers are going to get at least 5 hits off Suarez here. Well, nothing's for sure in sports betting, so I shouldn't say things like for sure and lock and things like that. But the Tigers have had double-digit hits in their last 2 games, and Suarez has allowed 7 or more in a few of his last starts. So I think Tigers to get 5 hits here is a lot safer than taking them on the money line, although I do think the Tigers win the game.
You think the Tigers win the game? Okay.
Oh, sure. Yeah. They're the best team in MLB still.
Well, they have the best record.
I have some conflicting thoughts here.
Yeah.
Like, one, I don't see why you would think that. Why would Harper and Schwarber have no chance against Flaherty? They maul right-handed pitching. Like, and this is Jack Flaherty. He's good. He's not elite. He's good. Like, I'm not saying that I really want to fade him at this price. I don't really want to fade the Tigers right now because I think the Tigers got their kind of bad run out of them. So I think they're sort of on the way back up. They're playing good ball. I asked the rhetorical question of like, was maybe the team a little bit disappointed that they didn't make a bigger splash? But I do feel like the trade deadline, what the Tigers did was probably a result of AJ Hinch saying, well, I'd like this. I'd like another starter to eat up innings. They got Paddock. I'll take a couple of bullpen arms because I'm like a literal god mixing and matching. It's as good as no one is better in Major League Baseball right now with sort of like mixing and matching. And I do think Hinch maybe looked at that bullpen and said, I don't have the confidence that I had last year, maybe like going 2 innings here, 3 innings there with some of the guys this year. So, they grabbed, think the reliever from the Braves, like, Sean makes a good point, which I pulled up on the thing, like Carpenter out of the lineup against the lefty is irrelevant. He's always going to be out and then come into the game later. So go ahead, Brian. I
totally disagree with that. You've got a guy that's going to get 4 at bats, and you're only going to get 2 at best. What if they bring in another lefty reliever while he's in there? He's going to get 1 at bat. I want him to play the entire game is what I want.
So my question, I guess, follow-up would be the Tigers have been decent against left-handed pitching this year, though. So clearly he's pushing some of the right buttons when it comes to playing guys, not playing guys, platooning guys, because the Tigers haven't been bad against lefties. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's where it's like, man, I see some shortcomings on this Tigers team, but AJ Hinch is that guy. And that's the thing. Like, I don't like betting against AJ Hinch because he is as good of a manager, and we're getting a crunch time. I still think the Tigers are going to run away with this division. I don't love them in this series on the road in Philly. They're not going to get swept. I don't know if this is a tough game. I'll move it along because I really don't have a better opinion than that. Go ahead, Brian.
You said the Tigers are going to run away with the division. I like the job that Kansas City has done. Kansas City has set themselves up to, they're a little bit behind right now, but they made some really nice moves during the trade deadline.
Yeah, They
Go ahead.
they definitely did. I just think it would be a massive. It would take a lot
yeah.
for them
Oh,
to get back into the mix there. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, they
Flaherty
had a
has
good. Go ahead, TB.
Flaherty has a 161 average against and a 656 OPS against in a huge sample size against these batters. So I think
Yeah, when
Phillies
he
are
was
going to have a
when he
hard
was
time
good
scoring.
though.
Are
That was
home
when
games
Flaherty
or
was
road
good
games?
though.
Because he's terrible on the road.
We'll see.
That was when he was.
Yeah,
that
we'll
was when he
see.
was a card. That was when he was a Cardinal and he was good. Like like great. He's good now.
You want to take those numbers and lay 150 with the Phillies against the
I
best
would.
team in baseball?
I think Flaherty's like a number 3 starter in the big leagues right now. He's
better
a
than Ranger
decent
Suarez, in
veteran.
my opinion. But
Oh, no way. Ranger Suarez is the
no.
better pitcher here. There's no doubt.
okay, we'll see.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
A little fun on the show, a little argument.
Moving on. Robert S says, I wonder if the Braves push Elder into the 5th inning after blowing up their pen yesterday. His out is over 15, or his out prop over 15 and a half is only minus 109. So we should talk about this game because it's a day game. We've got Friday day baseball. Reason being, these two teams are going to play on a racetrack tomorrow. So they're going to play a day game today. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they're playing tomorrow's game at Bristol Motor Speedway in front of like 90,000 people. So that should be fun. So they're going to do a little getaway day so they can get down to Tennessee. And it gives us day baseball today, Bryan Leonard. So very excited about that. Braves, Reds, and then I guess we'll leave Tokyo Brandon's kind of a resident outs prop expert. So we'll leave that one for him. But are you getting involved this afternoon, Braves, Reds?
Yeah, there's actually 2 day games today. Baltimore and Chicago Cubs are playing. Everything else is at night. You say they're playing on a racetrack yesterday. I was at the Aces game, or not the Aces game, the Aviators game last night, so I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Oh, tomorrow. Tomorrow's the racetrack game.
Yes.
Okay.
But they look like they played on a racetrack yesterday.
Yeah.
Scored 16 runs in 1 inning. That the way these teams' bullpens were yesterday, yeah, I could see another higher scoring game here because that it did open 9 to the over. And now it's a little bit 9.5 to the under. Moved slightly, but you've got Elder against Singer. Singer's it looks to be about a 135 favorite. Total of 9.5, a little bit to the under here. But yeah, both of these teams yesterday. In fact, there was, and we encourage everybody as Brandon talks about to get into the replay and talk about the games. And there was somebody in there that talked about he thought the Braves were going to have a lot of success yesterday. He predicted them to hit 4 home runs. They scored 12 runs without a home run. And then I made a comment. I said, how often do you see that in a baseball game? A team will score 11, 12 runs without any long balls at all. That was a hitting exhibition yesterday. Singer against Elder here. So, yeah, it's by the way, I've got a 5% play going today. I've already posted it. I don't put out many 5%, so I do have that up right now. And I also have a free play up, and we've won 6 straight free plays. So hopefully we can get you another winner there. But Bryce Elder obviously has not looked very good. In fact, he's been really poor this year. 6.29 ERA after that 6.52 ERA last year. They're decent sample sizes. Last year was 49 innings. This year, 87. Expected ERA 5.85, 1.61 whip off of a 1.63 last year. Ground ball percentage is the only thing he's good at. 80th percentile in that regard, which is important when you play in Cincinnati. And it is a great home run hitting park, although, as I mentioned yesterday, 12 runs, no home runs. Expected ERA, 4th percentile, expected batting average, 2nd. He's a guy I'm looking to fade. And if he does get more than 5.5 innings here, that means it's a high-scoring ball game. Brady Singer, 4.60 ERA, 4.51 expected, 1.33 on the whip. His extension's in the 91st percentile. He's 6'5", but everything else is blue. So we've got 2 pitchers here that I think are very hittable in a ballpark that is very hittable. And we know these teams can score. They've been able to score in the past. And as much as the Atlanta pitching staff worries me, they still got some really good hitters here. They even got 4 hits out of their second baseman, which I think is the first time all season he's probably got 3 or more, he's having a terrible season. But, at 9.5 here in Cincinnati with these two pitchers, I kind of like the over here. You score 10 runs and you get yourself a victory. And let's root for the hitting to continue like it did yesterday.
Definitely cannot argue with that. I don't like either one of these pitchers, and I especially don't like how Singer has fared against the batters he's facing today. What I really like about the over in this is both bullpens are playing really bad right now. I got Atlanta ranked 28th and Cincinnati ranked 24 out of 30 in current form, not good current form. And that's not even including yesterday's game, because my stats are exclude the day before. So there's not too much recency bias. So I see an over here too. I did find a play that when I was scouring through the stats, fortunately I'm on Japan time. So right when the numbers come out, I have plenty of time because I'm still awake while you guys are all sleeping. And I can comb through the stats, and Atlanta's team total in the first 5 over 1.5, I think is a great play. Given the fact that they just crushed it yesterday, I think they can get the Singer for at least 2 runs at the midpoint of this game. I'd like to make that my parlay leg, but I don't know if people can get that, so might be too complicated. So is that fair to make that my parlay leg? If not, I'll take the game.
What did you want to make it, TB? Sorry, say that again.
Atlanta team total first 5
well,
over 1.5.
The DraftKings is the only one that has the 1.5 right now, and it's minus 166.
Yeah.
The other places are 2.5 under 160 or so. So whichever you choose, but it's only available at DraftKings at 1.5 right now. But
okay.
People are
able to, that'll probably be tough for people to get in because.
I would think so.
Okay. Let's do Atlanta over 4.5 then.
Team total full game.
Yes. I think they get
what are we seeing that at? Braves team total over 4.5.
You're actually getting it
less money.
Yeah, I'm looking at under 124, 125, 127. So it's pretty close to
like plus 105 or something.
Plus 105, something like that.
That's what I see.
All right.
That'll be my leg.
Yeah, I couldn't help but think when I saw this matchup pop up, and I'm doing my work earlier, I'm like, man, 2 months ago, I would have had a huge play on the Reds here. 3 months ago, with knowing that I was high on Singer coming into the season, and I've been anti Bryce Elder for a very long time, coming off of a loss, this would have been big play for me a few months ago. But I've just lost so much faith in Brady Singer at this point that I just don't know that I can lay $1.30 with him, which is just crazy to think, because coming into the season, I thought he was going to have, he was the guy that came over. They traded him for Jonathan India. I felt like with the Reds pitching coaches and tweaking his pitch mix that he was going to be really good this year, and he just hasn't been. So it's, even though I kind of want to make a case for the Reds, it's very difficult to do that at the price and sort of with what Singer's kind of been so far this year. It's hard to disagree with the over. You talk about bullpen availability, and then, someone asked me on Twitter just now in a comment, so I'll bring it up. Can you talk about tomorrow's game, because it's in their neck of the woods at the Speedway? I mean, I would just watch how this game plays out. You might be in line for an over tomorrow too, and of course, Major League Baseball wants that. They love to see fireworks, and it seems like every time they have these type of games, they're tilted to being a little bit more high scoring. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see the books hang a ridiculous number to go over in that game. So I don't know if it'll be a good bet, but again, it just goes back to what you two are saying. Kind of feels like there might be runs throughout the series, right? Because we just saw a 12-11 game yesterday, and there's really nothing to think that there won't be some more offense today. To go to Robert's comment, the initial comment, they may try to push Elder in this game. I don't know if that's very smart. Red should be able to handle him. So I think you're only getting that over 15.5 outs if he's somewhat effective. And I have zero confidence in him being somewhat effective.
If it's a high-scoring game, he'll go longer, because you're just trying to keep your team in the game.
Fair
So
enough.
if it plays
Yeah.
out like we think, that
It's a great point. And it's why I don't handicap that market, because I would not have looked at it that way. So that's a very good point, Brian. Yeah, if there's back and forth scoring, then they might just say, hey, like, just try not to give up 15 runs in an inning and keep us in this game to the later portion of the game. So interesting stuff. But yeah, I have a hard time talking anyone here off of anything runs related. So TB, I hope your play gets there. Can't argue with it at all. Over 4.5. Braves team total over 4.5. The first leg of Friday's parlay, and there's plus money there. So might be on our way to one of those 6-1 jobs that we kind of need. After, although we hit one the other day, still up 8.4 units on the season. So we're doing all right there. Titan CT. That's my guy. He's been watching my stuff since before I was even at Wager Talk. So anytime I see Titan CT in the chat, I got to give him a shout out. He says kind of like the A's today. I kind of like the A's today too. Brian Leonard, what do you think? A's Diamondbacks.
let me see what
I think we got Lopez.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I think this is Anthony DeScalfini. Speaking of the Reds, that's a blast from the past right there. So yeah, D-backs A's.
Yeah, according to our website, we have nobody decided yet. So
DeScalfini.
Yeah, I'll pass on it for now until I know who the starters are.
Well, you know what? I might change my parlay leg. Is that allowed? Man, looking at this, I can't hear you, Adam. I think you're muted.
Oh, yeah, sorry, my dogs were barking. I said you had the win the other day with the Red Sox, and then you chant. I feel like it's a bad.
Okay, I'm not changing. No change. But man, athletics look good in this one. Not just the motivation or lack thereof of the Diamondbacks knowing that their entire team is being dismantled and management has no faith in them. But, these guys are still out there playing for contracts. But man, when your whole team just gets, depantsed and you have nobody in your lineup and you have no good starters, I mean, it's just very demoralizing. I have the Diamondbacks batting 29th out of 30, and I got their bullpen at 18 out of 30. So conversely, I got the the Athletics batting 5th, and I got their bullpen ranked 8th. Lopez, yeah, he's just an innings eater kind of guy. I mean, he's not great, he's not bad, he doesn't stand out, he doesn't really get bombed too bad, but he doesn't really have any master games or anything. I got him ranked 13 out of 30. Surprisingly, I didn't think he would be that high, but he is. I think he'll handle them well enough. He might give up 2 or 3 earned runs in 5 innings, but that should be good enough to take care of the Diamondbacks here, given their poor bullpen and how bad Oakland is the A's are clobbering the ball right now. So yeah, I love the A's here. What are they, minus 120 or something? I think it's a steal.
Yeah, so I was just doing some quick all of the DraftKings has DeScalfini listed at this point. So I'm going to trust that that's probably pretty accurate.
Yep.
And just knowing so I believe this would have been Merrill Kelly's spot in the rotation. So they obviously can't use him, right? Because he's not on the team anymore. So my guess is it's probably DeScalfini. So I got to be honest, I couldn't believe earlier this year he popped up at Scranton. The Yankees signed him. I don't think was he out of baseball last year? Did he pitch at all? I think he maybe had a long-term injury that kept him out for a while. I was shocked when I saw him in a AAA start. Brian, do you know was he out for a full year? Do you have that?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
So
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the reason I asked, I mean, this is a guy that has been around for a long time. He made his major league debut back in 2014. I remember those years where the Reds really thought they had something in him. I remember him making his debut for the Reds, and they thought he was going to be a really good pitcher, kind of had his career derailed by injuries. I remember him coming back earlier this year with Scranton, and I was just like, man, this is this is what they're going to try. This is what the Yankees are trying to do right now. I didn't really understand, that move. And then all of a sudden he probably, gets DFA'd or whatever. And then the Diamondbacks grab him. And suddenly he's like in their bullpen. He actually threw a pretty good bullpen outing the other day. 2.81 ER. So from the bullpen for Arizona since being called up on July 1st, 2.81 ERA. He's got a 1.96 batting average against and a 0.94 whip. So it's pretty good stuff right there. But that's more long relief mop-up duty. 2 innings here, 3 innings here, 3 innings here, 4 innings here. I don't really trust him as a starter. And then you got this A's lineup, man, who is, when they get a right-handed pitcher and they're kind of rolling a little bit, pretty dangerous. So TB, I'm with you. I think the A's are just a tough team to go against right now, just with sort of how they're playing. And this is a type of pitcher that they could really sort of knock around. So I don't know if what I'm gonna do with that per se, but I kind of lean A's as well.
Just
go
2
ahead,
points
Bryan.
real quick.
Hmm?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to let you know that he did not pitch in the majors last year. In 2023, he had 18 starts, 99 innings, and this year he's just got the 1 start, but he has had 8 appearances.
And
Yeah, and if I remember correctly,
just my 2 cents real quick. I thought this line would be minus 160, minus 180. So I think it's a steal, actually.
Yeah,
it should be.
Keep in
Is what I
mind,
said.
both teams are very young. There's not like Arizona came into the season. I mean, they've had success lately, but they've got so many young guys on this team. You're writing them off, I believe, too soon. And the A's are a very young team as well. And keep in mind, the A's just traded away their terrific closer, and their shortstop is injured. So they got. I love the trade they got back for DeVries or whatever, but he's not. He's in low A. He's in single A right now. So it's going to be a while till he makes the team, a year or two or whatever. So yeah, the A's aren't a whole lot better than Arizona right now. I understand why the line is where it is.
Yeah, line makes sense. I mean, I do think there's a pitching edge here for the A's for sure. That being said, I would look for the Tyler Locklear Diamondbacks debut tonight. That was a great trade. They sort of fleeced the Mariners, in my opinion, for a 2-month Geno Suarez rental. Yeah. They got back a reliever and they got back Tyler Locklear's having a great season at AAA. He just hasn't. The Mariners just haven't had a spot for him. But he has been pounding the ball at AAA. He is more than ready to get his shot in the big leagues. My guess is he's in the lineup tonight for the Diamondbacks, batting 4th or 5th. I think they're just going to put him in the cleanup spot, or where they'll put him wherever Geno Suarez was hitting in the lineup. They're not going to mess up their lineup construction that much. He's just going to be 4th or 5th, and they're going to trot him right out there. He's going to play every day, as far as I know. So again, I'm not, as I said last week, I think Arizona might surprise some people. Now that the dust is settled, some of these young guys, we'll see. I think Jordan Lawler's hurt right now. If they could get him back and get him playing every day, I think he could be a boost. So I'm going to probably pass on this one, but I do not want to back DeScalfini as a starter. I could see him potentially getting roughed up. I just, maybe it's because I watched too much of him at AAA, but there was a couple of outings at Scranton where he got absolutely bombed as a starter earlier this year. Bryan Leonard, I'm going to give you the floor. Do you want to suggest a game and maybe, that you might want to put as the parlay leg, or has there been one we talked about already that you're kind of looking at?
Yeah, I got to go back to that Mets game at home against Ray. San Francisco's offense is struggling. The Mets have not really knocked the cover off the ball either lately, but I think that I really like what they've done in the bullpen. If Peterson's done, the guy is going to give you a tremendous amount of length, but he can go 5 innings, and they've got so many guys in the bullpen. They could really shut down this San Francisco offense. Yeah, I'll take the Mets here. They're roughly let's go with 140. You can get better than 140, but let's go 140 here on the Mets to win that game over San Francisco.
All right. So second leg of our parlay will be Mets minus 140. I'll throw a game out. Let me go to my list of games that we haven't talked about yet that I have opinions. I'll throw one out. This will get the everyone jazzed up here. certainly the three of us, because we kind of like, I feel like we're on the same page regarding this a little bit. I want to talk Marlins, Yankees. Bryan, Leonard, you said you liked what the Yanks did at the trade deadline. I'm going to ask you a kind of a counter question to that. Do you think this Yankees team, after what they've done, is an elite team now, or are they still in that sort of cut below, trying to play their way up?
Well, they're not an elite team because I think the bottom of the order has some holes. I like the move bringing in the fast guy from Tampa Bay. It was actually, if you watch that game, he's in the dugout and shaking hands with people. They're going, "What the hell's going on?" And then he ends up having to walk across the field there. It's the second time this has happened this week where a player got traded to the team they're playing. But Volpe's not a guy I really like, so they're going to send him down to the minors. This guy down to the minors, and but he wouldn't surprise me. He's the starting shortstop for them pretty soon. So yeah, I don't know if they're elite. I still think Seattle's a better team than they are. But I'm feeling a little bit better for the Yankees than I did a week ago. And we'll see when Judge comes back. If he comes back on time, then they're right back where they were. But we're getting the Yankees against Junk going for it's Rodon against Junk. Rodon, the lefty. Current line out there is about 168, 170, probably 170. 7.5 on the over. Junk has been a guy that he started off really well, struggled a little bit lately, but he's still pitching a little bit better than what I thought he would do. If you take a look at his numbers, he's got a 3.28 ERA, 3.72 expected, 108 whip, which is very good, but he's still getting his average exit velocities in the second percentile, whiff rate in the 9th percentile, hard hit percentage in the 7th percentile. Those are things that the Yankees pretty much excel at. Carlos Rodon, 3.18 ERA, 3.20 expected, right there with it. 105 whip. Despite being 6'2", his extension is only in the 21st percentile, but he's a very good whiff percent, 90th percentile, strikeout rate, 84th percentile. He's basically his major pitches are the four seam and the slider. I think it was a pretty good day for the Yankees, and Miami traded away the outfielder Sanchez. I liked him. I would have rather they keep him. And the starters that they thought they were going to end up trading, they really didn't. So Miami's kept it a little bit more. I thought they'd be more of a seller, but they're playing close to 500 ball. They're a better team than a lot of people think, and we've talked about them for so long that we made some good money on them. But prefer the Yankees in this game. They're playing really well, and right where we were getting ready to write them off, they played Tampa and they dominated Tampa. So they're on a pretty good run right now, and they think they're going to get Judge back soon. So I don't like to lay this kind of number on the road, but that would be the way I would look, would be the Yankees here.
So the Yankees added a base stealer. That's good. They need to stop making 3 errors a game, and maybe they can make the playoffs. I have Miami slightly ranked just a little bit higher than the Yankees. That's mainly due to their bullpen performing better than the Yankees bullpen. Rodon and Junk, I have them pretty much neck and neck as far as rankings are concerned in current form. Batting, obviously the Yankees are a better hitting team, even without Judge. They're probably a little bit better hitting team than Miami, but Miami has a big bullpen advantage in my opinion. So I will not be playing this game.
The Marlins,
if those guys that the Yankees got are in make the team today, that'll erase that bullpen disadvantage.
So the Marlins plus 1.5 will be my leg of the parlay here. It's just amazing that no one wants to trade with Peter Bendix anymore, because he's just been putting people in their graves for like the past 2 years since he showed up. Basically ruined the Orioles organization with one trade. No, I'm telling you right now, they probably had every intention of moving Alcantara, and I bet all these other owners in the league are just like, he wants these 4 guys, I'm not going to do it. I value my job at this point because he's just dominated every trade. Go back to last year. He got Augusto Ramirez for Jazz Chisholm. I mean, come on. Like, just another, the guy is amazing. He's totally building out this Marlins team to be like very, very competitive. I don't know if they have enough juice to really get in the wild card mix this year, but it's not their fault. It's because they're in the National League. If this team was in the American League, they'd probably be a playoff team this year. But the NL, I think they're 6 or 7 back, but they're just chasing so many other quality teams. That being said, I do think they will still continue to exceed market expectations. I'm sure he'll somehow make Ryan Gusto a good pitcher, like a better pitcher than he is. He'll go right to Jacksonville. He'll get the full treatment. He'll probably be up throwing quality starts any day. Because that's who they got back for Sanchez. But like Jansen Junk's another one. Like he was I mean, they've totally made him into a really good option. And just like look at what Quantrill's doing. I mean, some of these guys, it's all their player development that's doing this. It's not like luck. It's not like they just like took, you know what I'm saying? Like they didn't just like luck out and like, oh, all of a sudden Quantrill's throwing the best ball he's ever thrown. Junk couldn't do anything last year. Now he's great. Like that's the Marlins developing talent. That's what they are doing. So, and it goes into the bullpen. They suddenly have a top 5 bullpen in the league, and most of these guys are still there. And now because no one wants to trade with them, they're going to have Sandy the rest of the year. They're going to have Edward Cabrera. So I will be playing on the Marlins until further notice, and I'm going to put them in the parlay here. Marlins plus 1.5. Bryan, go ahead. Were you going to?
Yeah, I was just about to say this takes us back to the beginning of the year when we pointed out that Miami totally changed the coaching staff, and they have done a tremendous job in that regard. Miami plus 1.5. The current line is about 115.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So the other thing too, you talk about Sanchez, being the one that moves on. I wonder if this frees up a spot for Jacob Marcy, who has had one of the best seasons of anyone at AAA. He's been down there. They haven't really had a spot for him. They haven't wanted to call him up, but he has been one of the most consistent hitters at AAA this year. So maybe it's his time to get a shot. And also, because he's been a little bit banged up, they're still sitting on Devison De Los Santos down there. Like it's just, maybe he gets a shot. I thought he would have been up last year at this time. So
I thought he was going to start the season with him. I mean, the guy's tremendous power. I will say, and I saw this I want to give credit to the MLB Network. The Yankees continue to trade away their catchers. They've traded away 9 catchers, I believe, in the last 4 years. And for the most part, they've all been really good. They develop catchers better than any team in Major League Baseball. And now they're trying to make Rice. He caught yesterday, and they're trying to make him more of a catcher. And Wells was really nothing until they developed him. So hats off to the Yankees with the catchers, and they're being able to trade these other catchers away to get what they need. And but all these catchers that they traded away have all been good. Look at Boston. Mm-hmm. Look at Miami. Look at all these teams have gotten their catchers, and they're really good players.
And there's another catcher, I believe, at AAA right now, TJ Rumfeld, that's a big league catcher, and he'll have his time. Like in another organization, he's probably already had his chance at the big league level. But as you said, the Yankees are just so deep at the position. It's been very impressive. So the parlay today, 3-teamer plus 557. This would be a good one if we can hit it. We will go Marlins plus 1.5 for the full game, Mets money line for the full game, and then you've got Braves team total over 4.5. If you can't get the team total, and maybe just the full game total, because I feel like you're going to probably get runs from both teams here. But Tokyo Brandon's play is the Braves team total full game over 4.5. I'm just saying if I know we have some people that can't parlay the team totals. TB, are you okay with a full game over if they can't get the team total in?
Yeah. I think both teams go over 4.5.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So one more time, Braves team total over 4.5 for TB. Mets money line for Bryan Leonard. I'll go Marlins plus 1.5. That's plus 557. It's 10 o'clock, so we're done for the day, done for the weekend. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Cash all your bets, and we'll be back here Monday morning for another week of Total Basis. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you Monday.